Sometimes reading the fucking manual is no help. Thrustmaster are the go-to brand when you want a steering wheel or a flight stick for your gaming or simulation needs, but sometimes their instruction manuals leave a little bit to be desired. For example, one of the things the manual, current as of 2025, for the Hot-Ass 1 flight stick doesn't tell you is how us Windows 11 users get into its custom control panel so that we can test the device and make any custom changes that we want to. Thankfully, I've found the solution. Hello and welcome, I am Rob Farker, a 40-something lover of sleek futures and cool machines who is taking his personality and perspective to YouTube to talk about life, the universe and everything, and maybe how to do them with a little bit more intent. A quick note, as always, at the beginning of every episode: please like this episode if you find it entertaining or useful, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even pen a polite, enthusiastic and or constructive comment in the comments section down below. Doing so not only lets me know that someone out there is enjoying what I am doing, but it lets YouTube know that this channel is worth promoting and it can well help me improve the content that I put out for you folks. So, when I was getting back into playing Elite Dangerous after about 8 years away, I knew that I was going to want a hands-on throttle and stick flight control system. Something like this one, the Thrustmaster Hot-Ass 1. It is a wonderful device because it means that I can control my virtual starship and do most of the key functions involved in flying and fighting it without having to take my hands off the primary motion and thrust control. So for example, this stick here controls where my ship is pointing, and this stick here controls how fast or slow it's going in the direction that it's being pointed in. Another thing that it does also is that this particular stick has a twist on it, which can control what is called the yaw, or the vertical axis of the ship, i.e. if I turn it counterclockwise, my ship twists counterclockwise. If I turn it clockwise, if I turn it clockwise, my ship shifts clockwise. Which again is a very handy thing, especially when I am trying to get the ship parked, but also when I am trying to keep it lined up on where I'm going, particularly if I am trying to get to my destination in Super Cruise without blowing straight past it. I got myself my brand new T.Flight Hot-Ass 1 just before Christmas, and one of the things I noticed when I plugged it in is that when I started flying, this rocker switch here on the front of the throttle stick, when I had been playing games like Elite Dangerous before, it seemed to be tied straight into the yaw control, i.e. it did the same thing as twisting the stick does. Move the ship, move the direction that my ship is pointing in around its vertical axis. But when I installed the stick just recently and just started playing, I noticed that pressing on the rocker fired my ship's lateral thrusters. For example, if I pressed to the left, my ship started shifting to the left without actually twisting. Its lateral thrusters on the right side fired, shifting it that way. And again, the same thing when I did this side of the rocker switch, which is something that I didn't realize it could do. The last time I had one of these, it seemed as though the rocker switch and the twist were one and the same. Then I took general advice and downloaded the Thrustmaster official drivers for this stick, and after that point I then noticed that, once again, the rocker switch and the twist on the flight stick did the same thing. And I thought this was odd and started looking up a solution. So I went to Reddit and did myself a search for any articles on people who were having the same problem, how to get the rocker switch controlling lateral movement once again. And I found this article here, which even gives screenshots and pretty much illustrated that yes, the thing that I had found when going into Elite Dangerous's game settings was the same thing. This little icon here indicated that lateral thrust axis should be mapped to the rocker switch on the throttle control. yet it wasn't doing that. It was tied to the yaw instead. And that was when this reply came up talking about changing the axis options to 5/8 axis mode. And it describes how you need to get into the control panel for your Thrustmaster stick and change it. That was when I hit another problem, actually accessing the control panel. Sure, I downloaded the drivers, and even the Thrustmaster website and instruction manual said that this control panel was available to me to do testing and adjust the stick's properties on. I couldn't seem to find it. Although I will say one thing about the manual, it does a little bit further down describe 4/6 and 5/8 axes mode, and that would have been the solution to my problem. However, in this case, the instructions in the manual for how to get to the control panel only explain Windows 7 and Windows versions 8, 8.1 and 10. And like a lot of people I imagine nowadays, I'm using Windows 11. And when I tried following these instructions, for example, searching for apps, well, I just got into the general control panel and nothing seemed to come up for Thrustmaster. I tried once again to hit Reddit, and someone else was having, of course, similar trouble. They said that they had managed to fix it, but the steps that I then tried to track it down, I did the firmware update, once again didn't seem to get me anywhere. What wound up doing it for me was that I searched Windows for game controllers. Not Fame controllers, pardon me. This is what I get for not being a great touch typist and also not wearing my glasses. And lo and behold, this little setting came up. Set up USB game controllers. Clicking on it brings up what looks like kind of an old school dialog box. But here we are. There is the T.Flight Hot Ass 1, which, folks, you do have to have plugged into your computer via USB connection in order for it to come up. If you don't, it won't be present. But if you click on Properties, here it is, the T.Flight Hot Ass 1 control panel, and you can see I have already gone in and adjusted the axes mode so that I can fly in Elite Dangerous the way I want it. So yes, sometimes it can be a bit frustrating when the official instructions for a piece of hardware that you've purchased don't seem to cover what you need to do and what is a fairly basic function. But thankfully, a little bit of Googling can help, and I hope that this is something that actually starts coming up on Google for those folks who are having similar trouble and helps them out. So if you're watching, let me know whether or not this helped you. Let me know what you are playing using your T.Flight Hot Ass 1 or your Thrustmaster control kit or any other fancy peripherals you have beyond mouse and keyboard, and how much you're enjoying it. Also, in the meantime, if you're interested in a few more gaming and technical tips specifically relating to streaming, take a look at this video where I talk about some processes around how to make sure you don't leave your microphone off for half a bleeding hour on your own damn live stream. But until then, have a good time in the meantime. This is Rob Farker, signing off.